Welcome everyone. In front of me I have the iPhone 7 and the iPhone 6s. WWDC has ended and guess what? iPhone 6s will not be getting iOS 16 and iPhone 7 will also not be receiving iOS 16. This is surprising because Apple are hypocrites. Here's why. Okay, so the iPhone 6s has A9 processor with 2 gigabytes of RAM. This is important because another device has the exact same processor, the exact same RAM as the iPhone 6s, yet it still receives iOS 16. What device is that? Well, it's the iPad 5th generation. This has the A9 processor clocked at the exact same speed as the iPhone 6s. It also has the exact same amount of RAM, which is 2 gigabytes of RAM. Yet this iPad runs a more intensive operating system, iPadOS 16. Of course, you're going to have a larger display on the iPad 5 compared to the iPhone 6s. You also have better multitasking on the iPad 5 compared to the 6s. Yet the iPad 5, with literally the same specs, receives iPadOS 16, yet the iPhone 6s does not receive iOS 16. I think it's even worse because, okay, this has an A9 processor. I guess it could kind of make sense. I guess I could buy it if the iPhone 6s was dropped, but the iPhone 7 was not dropped. But iPhone 7 was also dropped, and it gets even worse because the iPhone 7 Plus has 3 gigabytes of RAM. This is compared to the 2 gigs of RAM on the iPhone 7. So you'd think with 3 gigs of RAM, A10 processor, it's very clear that with the iPad 5 supporting iPadOS 16, the processor isn't the issue, the RAM isn't even the issue, but just for the sake of it, just think maybe for some reason on the iPhones you needed more RAM. Well, why isn't 3 gigs of RAM supported, right? iPhone 7 Plus has 3 gigs of RAM. It has the A10 processor. For context, the A10 is the same speed or faster than the following iPads which received iPadOS 16. iPad 5, iPad 6, iPad 7, iPad Pro, first gen 9.7, iPad Pro 12.9, iPad Pro. You get the point. Why on earth did this device not receive iPadOS 16? I'll tell you the little secret. The secret is this phone is great. This phone will probably last 3 to 4 more years if Apple were to bother with the software updates. And that's an issue with Apple, right? You probably bought this phone 2016 to maybe 2018, and you've used this phone and it works perfectly fine. It works great because this is a great phone made by Apple. But Apple aren't earning money from hardware with good phones, right? Apple only earn money on hardware when it's time to upgrade. And guess what, guys? It's time to upgrade in Apple's eyes, right? Your phone may be running perfectly fine, iOS 16 may be running perfectly fine because it is, but it's time for you to spend £1,000 on the brand new iPhone 13 Pro Max 5G model, 512 gigabyte of storage, which you're never going to use like 10 gigs. The point is, Apple, they're not happy that you're happy. That's basically it. This phone's great. You're having a great experience. This phone would be able to run iOS 16 with minimal effort, but they're not happy with that. Now, here's the deal. In the future, things could change. Things could change because iOS 16 could actually come to the iPhone 7. How is that? It could also come to the iPhone 6s. How is that? Well, the reason why is custom firmware. So back with 2014, 2013, the iPod Touch 4th generation had the same processor but less RAM than the iPhone 4. Yet the iPhone 4 received iOS 7, but the iPod Touch 4th generation did not receive iOS 7. And so someone modified the software for the iPhone 4, and guess what they did? By modifying the software for the iPhone 4, they made it run on the iPod Touch 4th generation. So the summary is, even though Apple didn't give iOS 7 on the iPod Touch 4, developers gave it via the back door. And so with the iPad 5th generation having the same processor and the same amount of RAM as the iPhone 6s, well, this is an iPhone 7, but the iPhone 6s, and the iPad 6 also having the same processor and RAM as the iPhone 7, we could see, very possible, that iOS 16 could be ported to the iPhone 6s and the iPhone 7. This can be done thanks to a hardware level exploit known as Checkmate. Essentially, what that means is on these devices, you are meant to have a jailbreak for life. We're still waiting on the jailbreak, but in theory, these devices are vulnerable forever. And with iOS 15 dropping support, we'll probably see a jailbreak release. And then after then, we could see custom firmware release for the iPhone 7 and the iPhone 6s, thanks to Checkmate. We already have good stuff. We already have dual booting on iPhone 7 and 6S, and on iPhone 7, guess what? We also have a feature known as running Android on the iPhone 7. That's not a joke. You can actually dual boot iOS and Android on the iPhone 7. Unfortunately, there's no real drivers. You can run Android, but you can install the APKs via a external device. However, you can't use the Wi-Fi, you can't use stuff like that. So it's not very useful. But in the future, you could have full Android on your iPhone 7, Android 10, Android 11, Android 12. Pick your version, it's going to work. And not only that, you're also potentially going to get iOS 16 through the back door. The only downside of this is if it does come, it will be tethered. And so what that means is in order to boot into iOS 16, you will need to have a computer ready. So it won't be practical, but it will be cool. And the thing is, if you don't have the computer, you just boot back into iOS 15. So it's not the end of the world. It's just a bit disappointing to see that Apple, they've let everyone down. They've let everyone down because they have dropped support for these perfectly fine devices. It just makes no sense, but it is what it is. And in the future, we will see iOS 16, not by Apple, but by some third-party developer. Alright, that's all there is to it. Make sure to leave a like. Thanks for watching. See you guys later. Bye-bye.